Well, here we are. Today is the day that this truck is going to be put to work. It is April 7th, and I bought this truck back on the, when was it? It was the 19th of December, I believe it was. So it took almost 4 months to get this thing into service. But we're going to see how it performs. I ran a grease gun around it. I was going to dump the oil out of it, but we can dump the oil out of it tonight. And I happened to notice this sticker on here. Filter replacement for DD 13, 15, and 16. Mileage replaced at 341,000 miles. It's got 368 on it now. The last service was done on the 26th of September in 2023. Next service is 400. They want this serviced at 441,000. Now this could be an old sticker, but there's one on top of the other one. So providing no one else has serviced it, and I would have to imagine that these fleet trucks, they don't do the services. That's what their service interval is anyways. I just want to pull this one off and see when the last one was. So the last service prior to this one was at 221, so they went 120,000 miles, and that oil change was on the 27th of September in 2021, and then they said to do it, they wanted it done at 371. So they're changing the oil at every 200 or every 150,000 miles is their oil change interval. So that truck of Alex's that we've had exactly a year, we have done more oil changes on that in its life here for 1 year on the farm than that truck has had done on it in its whole life. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing hooked up to the red diller. Sarah came in the shop here a little bit ago to get ready to haul. I said, hey, I've got your truck all ready. And she says, no, I've got my truck. So, not sure what we're going to do this one. It's just going to be an extra truck. So, we're going to get things fired up. We're going to hook onto that red diller, and we're going to see how this truck does today. Maybe I already mentioned it. I don't know. But we will run it a day before we do an oil change on it. Let the oil get nice and hot. And then we'll dump the oil out of it tonight. When we get done, we'll unhook again and dump the oil out of it, put fresh oil and filters on it. So we'll go ahead and get fired up here. All right. So before we back out of the door, if you haven't followed along in last videos, this is a twin to the truck that Alex has. We just got done putting a wet line on this. We did this system a little differently than how Alex's is set up. We took the fuel tank off of Alex's on the right hand side, put a hydraulic tank on that side, and then she found out she does not have enough fuel to get through a day. So we put this hydraulic tank up on the frame, and we've got another hydraulic oil tank over there that is set up for her truck, and we'll get that on here when we get the time. So I do want to show you, we got this tank filled. We put 50 gallons of oil in it one night. I got over here in the shop and I had 2 leaks right here, and I had a leak right there. So we had to drain the oil out of this tank. I took it down to a local guy that has a TIG welder, And he TIG welded it for me, and then I brought it back, put it back on the truck, and topped it off with oil with the 50 gallons in it that I originally had in there. It's a 70-gallon tank. We ended up putting in an additional 20 gallons in after that, and now it is right up full right up to the top. So we'll get hooked on to the red diller, and we'll see how this thing performs. I probably should get a shot of fuel too, because I am down to a quarter of a tank. Alright, so there is the trailer that we're gonna hook on to. We have not had one of these Freightliners on these diller trailers yet. So I might have to adjust my hose hangers and my lead hangers a little bit. I do have grease on this fifth wheel, and I don't know, I don't want to smear all that off, so I think what I'm going to do is air down a little bit, get underneath this a little further. I did this the other day and high hooked a trailer, but I don't want all that grease to come off. That doesn't act like it hooked correctly, so I'm going to pull back ahead a little bit. It acts like that pin come out a little bit. Yeah, that might have worked right there. I don't know if it aired up fast enough. There it is, I think. We're gonna find out. I guess I didn't smear too much of that grease off. We're hooked up. All right, so let's get our landing gear cranked up, get our airlines and hydraulic hoses hooked up, and we'll get on our way here. Okay, so we are full of fuel. Sarah is in the C500. She is just loaded. Both of these tankers here, Alex is getting ready to load. Both of these tankers have center fill, and it's a little easier for them to get underneath that. Well, it's not easier. Where we're going is kind of a dead end. We can't load the center fill trailers where we are going to be loading. So we've got 3 dillers that we're hauling with today. The one I'm pulling, Jared's pulling my uncle's trailer, and Jason's got our other diller with the Western Star, and we can back in and load the back of these trailers in the pit, or at the pit that we're going to be going to. So we'll get back in, load it up, and head it to the field. Looks like there's 4 of us right on top of each other here, but that's the beauty with the frac tank. We can get there, and at least 2 of us can unload at the same time. So Jared and Sarah are going to be right with each other, and then me and Alex. And Jason might be out here loading. No, he is not. So we'll go ahead and get back in there. Well, we had a little bit of a hold up. I had the wires mixed up for the left axle. So we should have, or we loaded when, just after Sarah loaded. Now she's on her way back through. So we'll get to the field. It's the first time I've been up on Route 20 with a load behind this truck. We'll see how things go here. We should pass Alex here somewhere too, because she loaded after Sarah did. And there goes Alex. Well, we've just pulled a couple of pretty good hills, and so far the clutch is real nice and strong, like it's supposed to be. You can see Nate off to our right hand side. We've got the frac tank up on the main road here, so get up on the main road and offload into it. They're traveling a little ways. Got another pretty good hill right here. Alright, we'll get over to the frac tank and offload. So the frac tank is up here on our right. There's nobody here. So we'll be able to pull up and offload. The last time I hauled manure, we were hauling to this location, if I remember correctly. Looks like Damien's on deck here waiting to get some manure. Out of there. Alright, engage PTO. Truck in neutral. Set park brake. Don't know which way the toggle's supposed to go. We've got it pulled back. Alright, that's the direction that the toggle switch needs to go in. We'll put this pipe down on the side of the tank. And we are spiking 3,000 gallons, or 3,000 pounds on the gauge. When this gets down to say 1,500 or so, or 700 or 800, somewhere in here, we'll know that we're empty. It's a handy feature to have with the gauge right in the truck, because it keeps you from having to keep raising and lowering the damn swing boom. So we'll get offloaded and we'll show you what the gauge looks like once we get towards empty here. I should jump out and see if we've got any oil leaks anywhere. Yeah, we're just gonna flip things over here, make sure we're not leaking anything. That's nice and hold there to high pressure line coming into the valve body. So our pressure has dropped down 900 to 1,000 pounds of pressure, hydraulic pressure. It's probably just gurgling a little bit. It's getting down to 800, 700. Raise our pipe up a little bit. We've got just a little bit of manure trickling out. 800 or so. So let's turn that off. Swing our pipe over home. I don't have a monitor set up in here. I don't really know where home is. Looks like no. See it in that mirror. All right. Okay. First load. Offloaded. PTO off. Light off. Directional on. Looks like we've got the garbage truck coming. And we'll be able to pull out. Now we've got a couple of cars. Just gotta wait. Might have to wait for that light to turn red that's behind us. Alright. Alright, gotta raise my left axle. We'll head on back to the farm and grab us another load. This farm here, last year was the first year corn after we flipped over from hay, and this is the farm where we had all that metal. The first year of hay over here. First year of hay 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we had a hell of a time with picking up a lot of metal wire from the old pastures that they used to have fence lines around every field for beef cow pastures that they had over here. So this is one of the furthest points that we haul manure to. We've got 5 tractor trailers that we're hauling with, and Tim is hauling with one of the 10-wheelers. About we're like 12, 13 miles away from home. Well, we had some more screwing around to do with this truck, and we got out of line here a little bit, but we are now right in behind Alex. So we're going to see how these trucks compare to each other. The tank that she's got it's an 8,500 gallon tank, and this one is an 8,000, but this steel tank is a lot heavier, than that aluminum one. So by the time both of them are loaded, we have on about the same amount. So we'll see how we do here. Alright, so she pulled away from us a little bit on that hill. Depending on how the traffic is, I don't know if we're going to be able to be nose to butt here. Looks like we will. So we'll see how we do up through here. Reduce speed, rollover risk detected. I think she's pulling away from us. Yeah. See how we do up through here. That last hill, she got us a little bit. I think she's pulling away from us here right now, too. Yeah, she pulled away from us back there. I got one little steep hill here. that truck's got a little more power than this one. Could be the driver. You never know. Well, that's it for hauling manure for today, and that is gonna do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll catch you guys at the next video. Everybody's getting parked up here for tonight, and it was a good day of hauling.